So, today we're going to be talking about how changing the particle size of a reactant can affect the rate of a reaction. And more importantly, how that can help us to make some cupcakes. So, what I've done is I have made cupcake batter. And I've put them into different sizes of case. So we've got our large cupcake, we've got 2 medium cupcakes, and we've got 4 small cupcakes. We're going to do a bit of an experiment about these to see whether making the cupcakes smaller has an effect on how well they'll bake. Now, to prove this is a fair test, if I get my scales out, I can show you that in our large cupcake we have 80 grams of batter, and also in our 4 small cupcakes we also have about 80 grams of batter. Now what this means is all we've changed is the size of the case that the batter's being put in, because it's the same for the medium ones. There's 40 grams of batter in each, so 80 grams total. We're going to come back to these cupcakes later, so I think the best thing to do is to get them in the oven. So like I said, we'll go back to those later, but for now we need to think about some chemistry. So in chemistry, when we talk about changing the particle size of a reactant, what we're really talking about is changing the surface area available. I need to describe this, I think, in a bit more detail. So, think about a salt crystal. Now this is a salt crystal and it weighs 1 gram. What a surface area means is the amount of area on the edge or on the faces of our crystal that could possibly react. We can just do that simply by counting the number of sides there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So our salt crystal has 6 sides for reactants to react with it. Keep hold of that number because we'll come back to it. Now if we want to decrease the size of that salt crystal, we could cut it in half. We've kept the mass the same, they're the same mass. All we've done is halve the size of the particles. But now let's look at what's happened to the surface area. Each of these crystals has 6 sides. So what we've actually done by decreasing, halving the size of the particle, is we've increased or doubled the surface area. This had 6 sides, these have 12. So in a reaction, 12 sides are available for the other reactant to react with in the smaller particle, and only 6 in the larger particle. Now that's all well and good, but we need to understand what that actually means in a reaction. So let's see. Here we have 2 glasses of water. Again, so we have a fair test, the glasses are at the same temperature and have the same volume of water in. To put in them, I have some salt. I have different sizes of crystals. So I have salt flakes, and I also have salt in small granules. So what I'm going to do is add a pinch of each of these to our glasses of water. Like that. And like that. To make sure we give them a mix, let's give them a stir. So that's been given about the same amount of mixing. if we think back to our particles, our large particles, so that's our flakes, have a smaller surface area. And our small particles, that's our granules, have the larger surface area. So which do you think is going to dissolve quicker? Well, let's have a look. As you can see, the amount of flakes that are left compared to the amount of granules that are left shows that the granulated salt dissolved quicker than the flakes. And that's because we think back to our surface area, there was less surface area available for the water to react with and dissolve the flakes than there were the granules. Let's go back to those cupcakes. And they smell pretty good. So, let's compare what's happened. For our small cupcakes, if we open them up, you can see that although they're not fully cooked, they're pretty much cooked all the way round. There we go. Look at that one. They were our smaller particle size. And what's happened is there's a lot of surface area exposed to the heat of the oven. So in comparison to our medium cupcakes, which are all molten pretty much in the middle completely, or even our large cupcake, which is still batter, it means they've cooked quicker. So the smaller the particle size, the larger the surface area, the more surface area has been exposed to the other reactant, in this case the oven. So what that's really showing you is how particle size can affect the rate of a reaction. And it's meant we've got some pretty decent cupcakes, though I think they need another minute or two.